Assalamu alaikum everybody. I will begin Ziyarat al-Shura. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah. Assalamu alayka ya ibn Rasulullah. Assalamu alayka ya ibn Amir al-Mu'minin wa ibn Sayyid al-Wasiyin. Assalamu alayka ya ibn Fatimata Sayyidat Nisa'il Alameen. Assalamu alayka ya Sar Allah wa ibn Sarih wal witr al-mawtur. Assalamu alayka wa ala al-arwah allati hallat bifana'ik. Alaykum minni jami'an salamullah. Abadan ma bakitu bakiya al-layl wan-nahar. يا أبا عبد الله لقد أزمت الرزية وجلت وأزمت المصيبة بك علينا وعلى جميع أهل الإسلام. وجلت وأزمت مصيبتك في السماوات على جميع أهل السماوات. فلعن الله أمة أسست أساس الظلم والجور عليكم أهل البيت. ولعن الله أمة دفعتكم عن مقامكم وأزالتكم عن مراتبكم التي رتبكم الله فيها. ولعن الله أمة قتلتكم. ولعن الله الممهدين لهم بالتمكين من قتالكم. برئت إلى الله وإليكم منهم ومن أشيائهم وأتباعهم وأوليائهم. يا أبا عبد الله إني سلم لمن صالمكم وحرب لمن حاربكم إلى يوم القيامة. ولعن الله آل زياد وآل مروان. ولعن الله بني أمية قاتبا. ولعن الله ابن مرجانا. ولعن الله عمر بن سعد. ولعن الله شمرا. ولعن الله أمة نسجت وألجمت وتنكبت لقتالك. بأبي أنت وأمي لقد أزم مصابي بك. فأسأل الله الذي أكرم مقامك وأكرمني بك أن يرزقني طلب صارك مع إمام منصور من أهل بيت محمد صلى الله عليه وآله. اللهم اجعلني عندك وجيها بالحسين في الدنيا والآخرة. يا أبا عبد الله إني أتقرب إلى الله وإلى رسوله وإلى أمير المؤمنين وإلى فاطمة وإلى الحسن وإليك بموالاتك وبالبراءة ممن قاتلك ونسب لك الحرب وبالبراءة ممن أسس أساس الظلم والجور عليكم. وأبرأ إلى الله وإلى رسوله ممن أسس أساس الظالم وبني عليه بنيانا وجرى في ظلمه وجوره عليكم وعلى أشيائكم برئت إلى الله وإليكم منهم وأتقرب إلى الله ثم إليكم بموالاتكم وموالاة وليكم وبالبراءة من أعدائكم والناصبين لكم الحرب وبالبراءة من أشيائهم وأتباعهم. إني سلم لمن صالمكم وحرب لمن حاربكم وولي لمن والاكم وعدو لمن عاداكم. فأسأل الله الذي أكرمني بمعرفتكم ومعرفة أوليائكم ورزقني البراءة من أعدائكم أن يجعلني معكم في الدنيا والآخرة وأن يثبت لي عندكم قدم صدق في الدنيا والآخرة وأسأله أن يبلغني المقام المحمود لكم عند الله وأن يرزقني طلب الصار مع إمام هدى ظاهر ناطق بالحق منكم. وأسأل الله بحقكم بالشأن الذي لكم عنده أن يؤتيني بمصابي بكم أفضل ما يؤتي مصابا مصيبة ما أعظمها وأعظم رزيتها في الإسلام وفي جميع السماوات والأرض. اللهم اجعلني في مقامي هذا ممن تنال منك صلوات ورحمة ومغفرة. اللهم اجعل محياي محيا محمد وآل محمد ومماتي ممات محمد وآل محمد. اللهم إن هذا يوم تبركت به بنو أمية وابن آكلة الأكباد اللئين ابن اللئين على لسانك ولسان نبيك في كل موطن وموقف وكفى فيه نبيك. اللهم العن أبا سفيان ومعاوية ويزيد بن معاوية عليه منك لعنة أبد الآبدين. وهذا يوم فرحت به آل زياد وآل مروان بقتلهم الحسين صلوات الله عليه. اللهم فضاعف عليهم اللعنة منك والعذاب الأليم. اللهم إني أتقرب إليك في هذا اليوم وفي موقفي هذا وأيام حياتي بالبراءة منهم ولعنتي عليهم وبالموالاة لنبيك وآل نبيك عليه وعليهم السلام. اللهم الآن أول ظالم ظلم حق محمد وآل محمد وآخر تابع له على ذلك. اللهم العن الإصابة التي جاهدت الحسين وشايعت وبايعت وتابعت على قتله. اللهم العنهم جميعا. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك. عليك مني سلام الله أبدا، ما بكيت وبكي الليل والنهار، ولا جعل الله آخر العهد مني لزيارتكم. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. اللهم خص أنت أول ظالم باللعن مني، وابدأ به أولا ثم الآن الثاني والثالث والرابع. اللهم الآن يزيد خامسا، والآن عبيد الله بن زياد وابن مرجانا وعمر بن سعد والشمراء وآل أبي سفيان وآل زياد وآل مروان إلى يوم القيامة. سجود. اللهم لك الحمد حمد الشاكرين لك على مصابهم. الحمد لله على عظيم رزيتي. اللهم ارزقني شفاعة الحسين يوم الورود، وثبت لي قدم صدق عندك مع الحسين وأصحاب الحسين الذين بذلوا محجهم دون الحسين عليه السلام. صلوات. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
बहुत देर लगी कब्र असग़र की बनाने में, बहुत देर लगी। शैख़ को एक चाँद छुपाने में बहुत देर लगी है, कब्र असग़र की बनाने में बहुत देर लगी। कुछ कदम दूर है बाजार से दरबार मगर, कुछ कदम दूर है बाजार से दरबार मगर, फिर भी शहज़ादी को आने में बहुत देर लगी। है कब्र असग़र की बनाने में बहुत देर लगी। शैन हर लाश को जल्दी से उठाया, लेकिन शैन हर लाश को जल्दी से उठाया, लेकिन लाश अकबर की उठाने में बहुत देर लगी। है कब्र असग़र की बनाने में बहुत देर लगी। टुकड़े चुनते हुए कासिम के कहाँ मौला ने, टुकड़े चुनते हुए कासिम के कहाँ मौला ने। हाय अफसोस के आने में बहुत देर लगी। है कब्र असग़र की बनाने में बहुत देर लगी। हाँ इस कदर प्यास से सूखा था गुलुए सरवर, इस कदर प्यास से सूखा था गुलुए सरवर। शिम्र को तेग चलाने में बहुत देर लगी। है कब्र असग़र की बनाने में बहुत देर लगी। कुछ कदम दूर है बाजार से दरबार मगर कुछ कदम दूर है बाजार से। दरबार मगर फिर भी शहजादी को आने में बहुत देर लगी है। कब्र असग़र की बनाने में बहुत देर लगी। बर मोहम्मद व आले मोहम्मद सलवात।
सलवात। I would like to invite Janab Raza Zaidi and Janab Ejaz for Salam and Marsiya, please. For Muhammad wa ali Muhammad Salawat.
For Muhammad wa ali Muhammad Salawat.
Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
रन में अब्रू कमा की आमद है। असग़रे बेज़बा की आमद है। भूखे की ना तवा की आमद है। प्यासे की नीम जा, प्यासे की नीम जा
की आमद है।
यही ख़ैमे में शोरा होता है। वादा इनका
भी पूरा,
वादा
इनका भी पूरा होता है।
प्यास ने कर दिया है ये आला। गश पे गश आते हैं इन्हें पैगाम। हिलते हैं हाथ पाँव भी कम काम। सीने में अब नहीं समाता दम। गम से मातम ज़दों को सकता है।
नन्हा सैयद बड़ा,
नन्हा सैयद बड़ा से
सकता है।
सीना गर्मी के मारे जलता है। नन्हा सा दिल बड़ा उछलता है। दम बदम रंग गो बदलता है। बस नहीं कुछ किसी का चलता है। नाम पानी का सब जो लेते हैं।
मुँह को घबरा के खोल,
मुँह को घबरा के खोल
देते हैं।
रो के कहती है बानोए दिलगी। मैं किधर जाऊं क्या करूं तदबीर। हाय बचे मेरी तेरी तकदीर। ना तो पानी मिला तुझे ना शीर। हाल जब देती है बद ज़ैनब
कहती है याली,
कहती
है याली मदद ज़ैनब।
हाय क्या वक्त है पड़ा हम पर, करने पाए न मातमे अकबर, हुई दरपेश रहलते असग़र। अब मैं निकलूंगी ओढ़ कर चादर, लश्कर शाह पास जाऊंगी।
हाल बेशीर का,
हाल
बेशीर
बेशीर
का
का
सुनाऊंगी।
कहूंगी जाके हूँ मैं सैदानी, देखो मरता है ये मेरा जानी, तशनगी की है इस पे तुग़यानी। वाह क्या खूब की है मेहमानी, करो सेरा लाल को मेरे
पानी दोनों ने हाल,
पानी
दोनों ने हाल को मेरे।
ज़ालिमों वास्ता पैगंबर का दम निकलता है मेरे दिल भर का, तर करो हल मेरे असगर का। जाम दूंगा मैं तुमको कौसर का, हुरमुला बोला अब मिलता है।
ठहरो ठहरो जवाब,
ठहरो ठहरो
जवाब मिलता है।
बोल करता है क्या गजब जालिम, मारता क्यों है बेसबब जालिम, पानी मांगे गे न हम अब जालिम, सुनता था शेख का कहना कब जालिम, तीर अबरू कमान को मारा।
6 महीने की जान,
6 महीने
की जान को मारा।
बर मोहम्मद वाल मोहम्मद सलावत। Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Respected Shaykh, elders, brothers and sisters in faith, Assalamu alaikum. May Allah hasten the return of our Imam and give us all the tawfiq to achieve the taqwa needed to be part of his lashkar, inshallah. And may Allah grant us all the opportunity to visit the land of Karbala, inshallah. CFK strives to serve as a focal point to our community and cater all its social and religious needs. It achieves this thanks in part to the generosity of our sustaining members and program sponsors. Jazakallah to those who are already sustaining members and sponsors. May Bibi Zahra increase your barakat and tawfiqat. Ameen. For details on how to become a sustaining member or a program sponsor, please join the CFK WhatsApp group or visit ckdfw.com. Let us all recite Surah Fatiha for today's program sponsors. Marhum Sayyid Yaqub Hussain Zaidi, Marhuma Sayyida Anis Fatima, Marhuma Sayyida Riyaz Fatima, Marhum Majid Beg, Marhum Agha Kalbe Muhammad, and the Marhumin of brother Agha Abbas, sister Uzma Mahdi and family. Marhum Sayyid Zahir Zaidi, Marhuma Raisa Zaidi, and the Marhumin of brother Munis Zaidi, sister Ismat Zaidi and family. Marhumin of Sayyid Masood, Dr. Fauzia Naqwi and family. Marhum Muhammad Sharif, Marhuma Shahnaz Sharif, Marhum Azhar Ibrahim, and the Marhumin of brother Saqib Ibrahim, sister Fatima Abbas and family. Marhumin of brother Haider Naqwi and family. Marhum Sayyid Agha Muhammad Muswi, Ibn Sayyid Baqir Kazmi, and the Marhumin of brother Sajid Kazmi, sister Azra Kazmi and family. Marhumin of brother Asif Patel, sister Zinat Patel and family. Marhumin of brother Naqi Jivani, sister Saima Jivani and family. Marhum Nisar Sharif, Marhuma Ghazia Hassan Ali, Marhum Muhammad Hussain Himani, Marhumeen of brother Kazim Sharif and Farwa Sharif, and brother A. Raza, sister Marzia Raza and family. Marhumeen of brother Mazhar Ali, sister Samina Ali, and the marhumeen of the Ali and Mukhi families. Marhumeen of Fazl, Mir Ali, Nathani and Panju families. Marhuma Amina, daughter of Dr. Noor Muhammad Sagarwala. Marhum Muhammad Hussain, son of Haji Jan Muhammad. Marhum Muhammad Sharif, son of Abdul Kafi Khan, and the marhumeen of the Sagarwala and Raujani families. Marhumeen of brother Abbas Raujani, sister Atiya Raujani and family. Marhum Sayyid Farhat Imtiaz, and the marhumeen of Dr. Amir Aga, Dr. Noreen Aga and family. Marhumeen of brother Shuja and family. Marhum Noor Ali Rashid, Marhuma Zohra Noor Ali, Marhum Salim Dina, and marhumeen of brother Zahir Noor Ali and Zahir Noor Ali and family. Marhumeen of sister Naseem Razvi and family. Marhuma Simi Hassan, Marhum Mushtaba Hassan, and marhumeen of brother Yusuf Hassan, sister Sara Hassan and family. Marhumeen of brother Askari Hussain, sister Narjis Hussain and family. Marhumeen of Dr. Ibrahim Abbas, sister Farheen Raza and family. Marhumeen of brother Raza Jafri, sister Maryam and family. Marhum Qaisar Zaka, and marhumeen of brother Abbas, sister Mahwish and family. Marhumeen of the anonymous donors, marhumeen who don't have anyone to pray for them, all our marhumeen and the marhumeen of the ummah. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. It is my honor to now invite the Shaykh to please ascend to the minbar. Bar Muhammad wa ali Muhammad salawat.
Yeah, I think we're good. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة على رسول الله وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين وأصحابه المنتجبين سيما بقية الله في الأرضين عجل الله تعالى فرجه الشريف ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين إلى قيام يوم الدين رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي اللهم كل وليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك توعا وتمتعه فيها طويلا. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين عليهم السلام. السلام عليك يا أبا صالح المهدي عجل الله تعالى فرجه الشريف. صلوات على محمد وآل محمد. On this night of Ashura, we want to begin not just to conclude the discussion that we've had so far, but we wanted to find the purity for us to reach that pinnacle of what it means to build and develop Husseini community. We've spoken about a lot of different things so far, and we've more or less, at least basically, laid the groundwork for what it is that we need in striving towards building Husseini community. And what we found at the center is that notion of relationship and caring for each other's welfare. So in the last couple of nights, we've been speaking about maybe some of the challenges that we may face in the pursuit of this Husseini community. We spoke how it's important for us to be accommodating in this journey of collective growth when a brother or sister is having a difficulty, they should feel comfortable in a space where they know the community will be accommodating to their struggles, they will welcome them, they will accept them and not repel them. Because of that, it's important for us to receive sometimes that shortcoming, that mistake, that evil, that sin, that transgression with an open heart, and to respond not in kind, but to respond with goodness. Tonight, what we want to do is, again, we want to draw our attention to one of the keys of the success when it comes to building those relationships. See, when we're advised to respond to each other not in kind, but to respond to each other better, it is because the Quran, the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, and the Ahlul Bayt want to teach us. If you respond in kind, you are simply mirroring. When we said a brother and sister should mirror one another, we are simply mirroring the state of affairs that speaks to the shortcomings and the brokenness of our relationships. It is almost as if we are accepting that reality. And because we've accepted that that's the reality, then it is only commensurate for us to respond with transgression, with another transgression, with an evil, with another evil, with harshness, with another harshness. What is that saying psychologically? The implicit message is that I don't think the situation is going to get better than it is. So if I invest in a response of goodness, I may lose what it took me to accommodate you. The situation is not going to change. That stock is not going to increase. So why should I put in the effort? Every interaction is an investment. You and I are looking to get something in return. It's not selfish. It's selfless. It's communitarian. So, we're talking about responding better when a person has a shortcoming and transgression. What we are saying is that I believe in the hope, in the potential for us to have a better relationship. And I'm going to demonstrate that through the reaction that I have. Those are two different messages that are being shared. You're telling the person immediately that this is not normal. This is not what I want. This is not what you want. This is not what I deserve. This is not what you deserve. We deserve better. Let's raise the bar. So you're implicitly giving that hope that not just now, but tomorrow can look better than it did yesterday. And for a community to succeed, for any group to succeed, especially despite difficulties, that element of hope and optimism has to be there. These microtransactions are what will be aggregated for a community to feel confident in that hope. It's not about sloganeering. It's not just about very attractive catchphrases. Those are good and important parts of effective marketing. But what we're trying to do is plant in the heart of each other that I believe that we can be more than what we are. And because of that, at the center, the Imam and the Prophet, when they interact with each other, what they're trying to get the person on the other side to understand and to accept is that you can be more than what you've presented in this moment. You can be more than what you are and what you are doing in this moment. So let's give a few examples. See, we've heard these stories about the Imam interacting with different people on his way to Karbala. Some joined, some didn't. You say most didn't because the Imam spoke openly. A very few of them joined, but many of them rejected the Imam's call, whether it was explicit or implicit. So here's one of these stories. The Imam and the caravan would stop in different small villages, positions, in one of these positions that the Imam stopped by the name of Bani Muqatil. It's one of the last stations before they reach Nainawa, Karbala. So this is pretty close. So it was a castle there, belonging to a person by the name of Muqatil ibn Hassan. That's why they call this Bani Muqatil. Okay. So he erects a tent. And they see also there's another tent that has been erected, signaling that there's another caravan or another group of people. So the Imam asks, who does this tent belong to? So this tent belongs to a man by the name of Ubaydullah ibn Hur al-Ju'fi. So the Imam says, okay, one of you go and send a message that we are here and ask and tell him that the Imam has invited him to his tent and he wants to see him. Very friendly, hospitable invitation. So Ubaydullah, after hearing this call, the messenger coming, he retorts, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Says, by Allah, I left Kufa, because that's where he previously resided, after I observed that the majority of the people are preparing themselves for battle with this Al-Hussein. And I know, based on how I'm reading the situation, that there's going to be an altercation, and Imam al-Hussein and his companions are all going to be slaughtered. So he's come to that conviction. What is he doing in this area of Qasr Bani Muqatil? He's trying to get out of the city so he doesn't have to witness this happening. And now that he's done that, he just so happens to run into the Imam, the very person that he wants to avoid. Not that he feels guilty that he's going to go participate in the fighting. He just doesn't want to be there to witness this scene because he knows it's going to be a painful scene. So he gets out of the city. Now he runs into the Imam. So he says, go to the Imam and say, I've left. I don't have any resources and assets with me. And my intention, this is what it says, Wallahi ma uridu an arahu wa la yarani. My purest intention is that for me not to see the Imam and the Imam not to see me. So the messenger goes back to the Imam and says, this is what Ubaydullah is saying. So the Imam puts his na'alain shoes on and he goes to the tent of Ubaydullah. Again, Imam is going to invite. He says, Ubaydullah, you don't have to settle for something like this. You've done good to already know that things are getting bad and you don't want to participate. You don't want to be complicit, so you've left. That much of it is good. There's something more here to be achieved. The Imam says, anyone who comes with us, that salvation will be achieved. Ubaydullah says, I already know. I know anyone that comes with you will be martyred. I doubt you're going to gather the support that's needed. So I'm not optimistic. And also, I'm not in a place right now in my life that I'm ready to die or to achieve martyrdom. So he tells the Imam, let's make a compromise. I don't have any problem with you. And I'm not happy with the fact that people are going to be fighting you. I can't right now come and support you with myself, but I do have a few small assets, and the only things that I have with me are, for example, my horse and whatever I have on my person. So I believe in you this much and I respect you this much that I can make these available to you. Take them and kind of leave me. Let me off the hook. The Imam says, now that you have rejected our invitation, we have no need for you or for your horse. See, I'm not saying, brother and sister, right now when we're talking about Husseini community and all the things that we can do, there are some times that we have to support it financially. The riwayat that we spoke about says, support your brother with your assets. But if supporting the conviction, our buy-in, is only simply to give anything other than ourselves, the Imams may find that wanting. Because the Imam is not after our money. Some people think like, oh, all this khums we collect, and what are we supposed to do with it? We're supposed to bury it somewhere. The Imam comes, he needs to have a treasure chest so he can... No. Imam doesn't need paper. It's not backed by gold that's being printed in some Federal Reserve Bank. Imam doesn't need those things for us to save it up and bury it when he comes so he has an unlimited platinum card. He doesn't need those things. He wants you and I. Doesn't want our homes, doesn't want our cars, doesn't want our retirement accounts. He wants us. He wants us to be fully in. Those things naturally come with it. What are you going to do with those things when you've given your life for something greater? So, what's the challenge now? What was the point of this whole thing? When we're talking about building community, that element of hope to be all in needs to be there. The conviction that we can be something more than we are right now has to be there. And as we built on each of these levels from the first night, it has to be on an individual level, has to be on a family level, has to be on a brotherly and sisterly communal level. They have to exist. We'll throw money here and there at good projects. Good things will be done. But remember, just putting up the building itself is not enough. You can build, and you will build, and you should build, inshallah, state-of-the-art schools that puts all the other state schools to shame. You will do that, inshallah. But a school that has all of the facilities, the technologies, the resources, but without the spirit in the heart is an ineffective school. So we have to cross that bridge. And the few comments that I want to make tonight is more so directed towards people like me who think of myself as being not enough. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. So that's what we're looking for tonight. The encouragement that I'm giving is really a heart-to-heart. When I look to my own state, tonight's night of Ashura, tonight's the night where Imam Hussein alayhi salam said, listen, whoever wants to go can go. No one's holding you here hostage. You came this far out of the love that you had for different reasons, but this is the night that the decision is supposed to be made. Are you sure you understand what you're doing? Are you sure you're okay with that? Just because you got caught up in something doesn't mean you have to. So the Imam says, turns the lights off. Anyone and everyone is free to go. So that night is tonight. So tonight, for one reason or other, the Imam brought us into this majlis. And all other mu'mineen that were in the majalis. So we've made it this far, right? And the Imam is saying you have an opportunity. If you feel like you shouldn't or you can't stay, leave. Now, someone like me, I'm afraid, not because the Imam is allowing me to leave. I'm afraid in my mind, I'm afraid in my heart, I say this is not the place for me because I don't deserve to be here. Right? So look at the people around me, right? Zuhair, Qasim, Abul Fadl, whoa, these are true brothers. They've done right by me, I haven't done right by them. So I start thinking these thoughts. And before I know it, I may start to creep towards the exit. We read in Dua Kumail. Tonight we read Dua Kumail. Ya Sari' al-Rida. Speaking to Allah after that whole treatise that you've given, you've emptied yourself. Oh, the one who is very quick to become satisfied and happy. Irham. What? Irham. And ra'su malihir raja. Have mercy on the person who the collection of their assets, the entirety of their assets is raja, hope. That's all we have. All we have is a hope that the Imam will see us as being good enough. That's all it is. We all came in here with that hope. Now, what I want to say is that the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, and the Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, through that sunnah, is telling each and every one of us that we're good enough. That even the state that we are right now, we're good enough. There's potential for us to grow. Don't reject yourself. Don't deny yourself. Look, if we look to the Quran, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala instructed Musa alayhi salam and Harun alayhi salam, اذهب إلى فرعون إنه طغى. Go to Pharaoh. He has rebelled. Tughyan, someone who has exceeded their bounds. We've done something that we know we're not supposed to. Tughyan. إنه طغى. فقل. Say to him. فقل هل لك إلى أن تزكى وأهديك إلى ربك فتخشى. Go tell that person that has exceeded and rebelled to that extent, do you sincerely want a way out of this? قل هل لك إلى أن تذكى. Do you need help in restoring the connection that you want to have with God? And for us to help you find that khashya, that peace, the fear, the serenity that you gain by being back in a relationship. Do you want that or not? In Surah An-Nazi'at, in other places, Surah Taha. فَقُولَا قَوْلًا لَيِّنًا. Speak to him softly. لَعَلَّهُ يَتَذَكَّرُ أَوْ يَخْشَى. So that he may remember and recall, or he may, that fear of the consequences of his action may find himself in his heart. Allah is instructing probably one of the most people in the most compromised situation. The Prophet, go speak to him like that. Speak to yourself in that way tonight. Do you want that? Is this what you're calling out for? To make that change in life that you can also be deserving? So to build that Husseini community, not only do we need to find it, but we need to be encouraging to each other. If we're all sitting in this tent, we don't want our brother and sister to leave our side. Not just because with them the victory is more assured, but because we care about their welfare. If we care about each other's welfare, we won't allow any of us to leave here. What is it that's on your mind? What is it that's concerning you? Why do you think you're not good enough? We can address that. We can fix it. You are. You are enough. Younger people, older people. We don't discriminate here. All of us have problems. All of us has things that we want to fix. All of us want to be a better version of ourselves. Each of us are struggling with our own things. That brings shame to us when we think Imam Hussein alayhi salam, the Imam of our time, will welcome us into their tent. I don't belong here. I don't deserve to be here. You're wrong. My sister, you're wrong. My brother, you're wrong. You deserve to be here. How can we support one another? One way is to increase that hope, to increase that positivity, to draw from the experiences of that past nation that tell us that we can be enough. Let's go to the rawayat, because Ahlul Bayt alayhi salatu wasalam has shown us already that these things can happen, and they give us ideas. First thing, in helping people see the potential in themselves. One of the great companions of Imam Sadiq alayhi salatu wasalam, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa Muhammad wa is a companion by the name of Abu Basir. Abu Basir had a neighbor. And his neighbor was not a good neighbor. You know, neighbors in Islam also have certain rights on one another. So I have a neighbor that's not very practicing. But the neighbor, interestingly, identifies more or less with us. With us means either by name, at worst by name only, he identifies, he understands himself as belonging to Shia. He's Muslim, but even that affiliation, yeah, I am. But his lifestyle, obviously, doesn't communicate that. It's a person who, whatever you want to think, he parties, he drinks, he has illicit relationships, he's having a good time in life, so to speak. He's enjoying himself. He wants to enjoy himself. So Abu Basir said, it's bothered me. So from time to time he would go see the Imam. And one of these occasions, just happened to mention, this neighbor is really giving me a hard time. What should I do? And he told the Imam, by the way, he identifies this way. Okay. So the Imam says, go to him and do two things. First, convey my salams to him. I, as his Imam, convey my salams to him. I don't even live here. I don't know what he's doing. I haven't observed. Conveying of salam means, I acknowledge that you're there, I care about you. And the second thing, tell him that I, as his imam, will assure his salvation, if you want to call it through shafa'ah and other means, if he cleans up his act, if he makes a sincere attempt to change. I will guarantee that. Not that he's going to play God, but he says, I have a plan for you. I see a future for you. I see a potential for you. Abu Basir leaves. He runs into his neighbor in not such a good state. Maybe after one of these nights. And he tells him, by the way, I just came back from the imam, and this is the message that he relayed to you. He said, if you clean up your act, the imam vows to help you and for you to have the outcome that you know you can. Community building, we're talking about the potential of what we can have. The imam is telling this person, I'll guarantee it, even though you're in such a compromised state. The man is so taken aback. He says, swear by God that your imam said this. And he says, I swear. He said, that's enough for me. And he left. Some time passed and not so much. Abu Basir says, I had an interaction with him. I went to see him just to check up on how things were going. And the man said, Abu Basir, I can't open the door. I've cleaned my house of all of the filth. I've got rid of all of the things that belong to the past life, all of the things that I may have acquired problematically, and all that remains is for me to barely cover myself. I can't open the door. Like to that extent. He was trying his best to reset. So Abu Basir says, okay, no problem. He went, he said, I gathered the raw. I went and gathered him some clothes, gathered him some food, and I came and delivered to him. He said, not much time passed, the man became ill. He became ill. I would go visit him because as brotherly, sisterly responsibility, go visit your sick. So I'd visit him from time to time. I would take care of him. In one of these events that it seemed like the end was near, this neighbor passes out, goes unconscious. For a few moments, he wakes up and he says, Abu Basir, your imam was right, he fulfilled his promise. He laid down on his deathbed and he died. So Abu Basir goes to visit Muhammad Sadiq alayhi salatu wasalam again, either immediately after this or just the next occasion that he went. He says, when I went to visit the imam, before I entered, as I stepped into the courtyard before the house, the imam raised his voice without me saying anything. Abu Basir, when we give a promise, we fulfill it. That's all it takes. That's all it takes. That's how small the ask is. I'm willing to make a change. I believe that you care about me. I believe that you want to be in relationship with me. I believe that in my broken state, you'll let me in. You'll find a place for me. There isn't limited seating here. There isn't registration required here in the camp of Hussein. All are welcome. Hope. Positivity. Don't look at each other and see the brokenness that is now. Look at each other and see the potential of what can be. Because that's what your imam sees in you. That's what we're meant to see in each other. In another example, one of the contemporary scholars, he's a famous speaker, and even now he still lectures, different part of the world. He says, I was a young man, and he lived in Iran, so pre-revolutionary Iran. Said looked a little different environment, more or less. Maybe there was less religiosity, there was tolerance for other things. So I lived in a neighborhood, and I was a seminarian at that time. I lived in a neighborhood that we had a bar on the corner of the street. You see, like from time to time, you see liquor stores here. We had a bar and people would frequent there. So this upset me because I wanted to clean up my neighborhood. It's not like now that it's like illegal. No, it's just part of the culture. So he said, I felt like it was my responsibility to go do something. I couldn't take it anymore. So I went into the bar. He said I was a seminarian, so I was dressed like a seminarian would dress, like a scholar would dress, like a akhun would dress. So I went in fully dressed. People looked and says, what is this guy doing here? Some of them may be thinking, oh, I knew these guys are like this too. No one else knows. I don't know what they're thinking. But in any case, most people were confused and in awe. So the Shaykh goes to the bartender and he says, I want to speak to the owner. He says, I'm the owner. So I want to have a private conversation with you. All right, let's go in the back. Small office. He says, listen. And the man was elderly, the owner. He says, in our tradition, I'm paraphrasing here, says when a person comes of age that their facial hair, their beard, their hair becomes white, so to speak, Allah is almost ashamed to punish that person because of so much life experience that they've accumulated. They should know not to do certain things. You're not a child anymore. And I'm here just to tell you that I can help you if you want to change your ways. I don't think this is good for you or the people around us. So I wanted to just come and say this and leave. The man broke down. The man broke down. Said, I never wanted to be the owner of a bar. I inherited this. And this is the way that we've made income, and this is the way that I make income. This is what I know. This is the business I know. And the Shaykh said, if you're serious about that and you want change, I can rally support from the community for you to change this into something else, change it into a restaurant. We suggested make it into a kebab shop. People are always eating kebab, right? A burger joint, people are always going to come and have a burger. It doesn't matter. We'll get customers and we'll make sure that you build your customer base. So the man said, okay. The Shaykh went out and says, the bar's closed. We're not serving anymore. I bought the bar. Well, from a fiqh perspective, you can't. Alcohol, you can't buy alcohol. I bought the bar. Everything has been accounted for. Leave. So they revamped and they launched as a kebab shop. He says, till this day, that place still exists. And we made it a fact to draw the support of the community and to send business his way, even though it was inconvenient for us. There was a closer place, but I drove half an hour out of my way, 35 minutes out of my way to go support. I don't know if it was that long, but I'm giving an example, DFW specific. 40 minutes may be a long way for you to go have a burger, but if you know supporting a business like that is crucial for that person to remain in that way of life, then a brother does it, a sister does it. Sometimes that's all it takes. All it takes is for someone to come and say, I care about you, let me help you. Look, my personal example like I gave, right? I should be exercising more. There are people that came to me and said, listen, I want to help you. Come, I'll show you, we'll exercise together. You hate exercising? We'll do it together. Put a schedule, keep up with me, encourage me. Sometimes that's all it takes. Now, I'm not saying quickly go to, let's memorize the Quran together. No, hold on, relax. I just want to spend time with you, make sure you're okay. How's your physical health? How's your mental health? What are you struggling with in life? Can I be an outlet for you to just communicate with me? Increasing the positivity, helping each other see what we can be, not what we are right now. So we're talking about individual. Brother, sister, you can be more than what you are. This is a story, and a lot of these kind of stories are attributed to the ulama, so I don't know. This story is being told from the point of view of not the Shaykh, but the person who's interacting with him. The late Ayatollah Bahjat, a very famous scholar, very wise, learned, practicing scholar that for the most part, for most of his life, he was really not very well known. So one of these students, because many people after he became well known, people would go to visit him when they made ziyarah of Qom. So this story, I don't know if it's correct or not. It's been said from the point of view of this student, but I think it helps us in that personal conviction that we can do better. He says, I was a university student, we went to Qom. We went ziyarah of Lady Masum, salamullah alayha, around, and then we went to see some of the ulama, which was not uncommon. But they're university students, it's like an attraction. Anyways, so we went to see this, Ayatollah Bahjat, rahmatullah alayhi. So we went to see him, and my friends had told me, this guy is the real deal. You can see in your soul. So we went, and everyone was so excited to see him. Assalamu alaikum, all that stuff. I try to do the things like my friends would. He wouldn't really pay attention to me. I don't know if that just happened by chance. He said, this is my observation, my experience. So I started to think to myself, I know the reason. They told me this person can see in the soul. So he's probably seeing all of the things that I'm doing that I shouldn't be. So he said, I make mistakes. As a younger person, I'm doing things that I know I shouldn't be. In that example, he says maybe consumption of alcohol. Maybe for you it's, usage of some other substance, some other addiction, some other activity. So that he's probably seeing this thing he doesn't want to pay attention to because I'm not deserving of it. So that kind of, it meant something to me. It broke my heart. I said, I'm going to change my ways. So I go and I, again, clean house, like this neighbor of Abu Basir. Now, my class had already gone on the Qum trip for that year, and it wasn't my turn to go, but somehow I tried to find a way. I begged them, let me go to Qum again with the next group of students that had gone, even though it's not my turn. He figured it out. Goes to Qum again after a few months, again, in the visitation of, I don't want to talk about he goes there again. And this time, he's not really trying to beat over the crowd and go in the front and do the salam and all thing. He's just kind of in his own world. Like he's remembering last time he was here and what happened. And in this account, it says that the students are kind of drawing his attention. Hey, so-and-so. My gosh, that's looking, he's paying attention to you. And he delivers this message. Again, like I said, I don't know the veracity of this, but he said that it's since the time that you've made that change in your life, the Imam of the time is happy with you. That's all it takes. Don't self-deny. So this is the personal level, the family and the community level. All it takes is someone to show interest, to show care for us. And we can make those changes. And we can realize Husseini community. Because we're looking not at where we are right now, but where we can be. And we look not what our faults are, but we look at what our opportunities are. That's the meaning of hope. So the Ashab of Imam, look, this individual that the Imam met with, the first story that we gave, Abu Ubaidullah ibn Hur, what was the way he was looking at it? He says, I don't think people are going to support you. You're probably not going to be victorious. No hope there for him. But the Imam wasn't inviting him to that. The Imam was inviting him to the truth. The Imam was inviting him to true happiness, true bliss, true salvation, true beauty. And it's why when those people went and did what they did, Lady Zainab Salamullah alayha says what? She comments, Ma ra'aytu illa jamila. I saw nothing but beauty. Even in that pain, the beauty is there. Even in this brokenness, my brother and my sister, there is a potential to realize that beauty. We can do it. You can do it. If we couldn't, the Imam wouldn't have brought us here. Don't try to rationalize. A million things could have happened that I wouldn't have come tonight. So no, don't. Some of these things are beyond our ability to understand, comprehend. I'm not saying we can't rationalize. If we knew all the things that happen in the world, sure, we don't have that knowledge. But our convictions are drawn on this, that there's something about our love for the Imam and there's something about the Imam's love for us that we're here and we keep coming and we keep coming and we keep coming. So on this night of Ashura, it's the night to think big. It's the night to look at ourselves despite all of these shortcomings and say, we can be a part of something greater than we are. And the Imam will accept us. And I'll end with this. It's come in our tradition that a person who, despite their shortcomings and mistakes, al-fajir, fujur, something that's not good for you, something that's sinful, something that's transgression. Al-fajir, al-raji li rahmatillah. Despite the transgression, they still have hope in the mercy of God. They still have hope in the ability to change. أَقْرَبُ مِنْهَا مِنَ الْعَابِدِ الْمُقَنَّتِ is closer to that than a worshiper who despairs. You and I can come and worship. We can do majlis. We can do program. We can do all of these things. But if it's not coupled with that hope that we can do something, we're putting ourselves further away than where we need to be. So tonight as a community, that's what we're coming to. We are acknowledging that as we are right now, there is much potential. We can do great things. Sallallahu alayka ya Aba Abdullah. If we can dim the lights, inshallah, recite a few minutes of musibah. where Abu Abdullah, as we remember the youngest shaheed on the day of Ashura. Imam Hussein alayhi salatu wasalam wanted the people to believe so much, he wanted to enliven their hearts so much, that he even draws on a newborn child. Let this enliven you, let this refocus you, let this remove the distraction, let you see the truth. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك. When the Holy Prophet told Lady Zainab about the events that would transpire in Karbala, of the martyrdom of her son Abu Abdullah, of the tribulations that would befall him, Lady Fatima burst into tears. She asked, "My father, when will this take place?" He responds, "My dearest, neither I nor you nor Ali will be there." Fatima continues crying, but Rasulullah consoles her, giving her good news. Ya Fatima, there will be a people from my ummah who will cry for him, who will remember him, generation after generation. فإذا كان القيامة تشفعين أنت للنساء وأنا أشفع للرجال. On the day of judgment you shall intercede for these women and I for the men. وكل من بكى منهم على مصاب الحسين أخذنا بيده وأدخلناه الجنة. Whoever among them cries for the calamities of Al-Hussein, we will take their hand, we will lead them to paradise. The patience of our master Abu Abdullah is truly awe-inspiring. When Zainul Abidin describes the situation, he says when things got increasingly difficult for Abu Abdullah, the companions would look at him in amazement. They noticed how different he was. The more difficult things got Abu Abdullah, though the colors of the faces of others would change, the limbs should shiver, the hearts should palpitate, but the face of Abu Abdullah and those who were around him would only get brighter. Their bodies were calm. They had a sense of serenity. Some of them said to the others, "Unduru la yubali bil maut." Look at them, they are not afraid of death. The Imam advised his companions to be patient. فَمَا الْمَوْتُ إِلَّا قَنْتَرًا. Death is nothing but a bridge to the next life, my dearest companions. But one of these situations even shook our master Abu Abdullah. Assalamu ala al-Radhi' al-Saghir. Peace be upon you, O nursing child. La yawmaka yawmika ya Abu Abdullah. There is no day like your day, my master Imam al-Hussein. After all of the companions have achieved martyrdom, their bodies lay there, strewn on the hot sandy plains of Karbala. Our Imam stands there alone with no one to help him. Hal min nasirin yansuruni. The women of Ahlul Bayt have no defender. At this stage, the Imam calls out in a loud voice, "Hal min dhabin yadhubu an harmi Rasulillah." هل من موحد يخاف الله فينا؟ هل من مغيث يرجو الله في غاثتنا؟ هل من معين يرجو ما عند الله في إعانتنا؟ Is there no Muslim left amongst you? Is there no monotheist left amongst you? Is there no human left amongst you to come to the aid of these women and children? As the women hear the sounds of their master, they realize how bad the situation is. Their cries get louder. The Imam comes to the tents to address the women. Ya Sukaina, Ya Fatima, Ya Zainab, Ya Kulthum. My final farewells to you. The daughter of Hussein turns to him. My father, have you submitted to death? My dearest, how can I not submit to death? My dearest father, take us back to the haram of our grandfather. Return us to Medina. Abu Abdullah sheds a tear. Never, my dearest. This is not possible now. The Imam consoles her, drying her tears. Zain al-Abidin comes out of the tent, leaning on a stick, dragging his sword. My beloved father, master, allow me to sacrifice myself. You called for help when I'm still alive. Abu Abdullah returns him. Zainab, take him back. The lineage of the Prophet has to remain. فتقدم إلى الخيمة وقال لزينب ناوليني ولدي الصغير حتى أودعه. I'm bidding farewell, beloved Zainab, bring me my newborn. I want to bid farewell from this child. In some accounts they say he set the child in his lap, started to kiss him. He comes towards the enemy holding this baby. يا قوم قد قتلتم شيعتي وأهل بيتي. Oh people, you've killed my followers and my family. وقد بقي هذا الطفل يتلذذ وعطش. All that remains is this newborn child, dying of thirst, opening and closing the mouth because of the thirst. فاسقه شربة من الماء. Just a little water for this child. The Imam is trying to enliven the humanity. قال يا قوم إن لم ترحموني فارحموا هذا الطفل. If you don't have mercy on me, have mercy on this child. How did they respond to the call of the Imam? فرماه رجل منهم بسهم. One of these men responded by shooting an arrow. فذبح الطفل من الوريد إلى الوريد, puncturing the throat of this child from one side to another, from ear to ear. Al-Hussein in narrations catches the blood of the body of this child in his hands, looking to the heavens. اللهم احكم بيننا وبين بقوم دعونا لينصرونا فقتلونا. Oh Allah, you be the judge between us and the people. They invited us, but they kill us. هون علي ما نزل بي أنه بعين الله. The Imam is consoled. Hussein دعه فإن له مرضعا في الجنة. Hussein, leave him. There's a wet nurse for him to look after him in paradise. Abu Abdullah has to return the body of this shaheed too. He can't leave the body on the battlefield. He's not a soldier. But how can Hussein answer his mother? 7 times the Imam has said, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Ridhan bidridaka tasliman li amrik. Hussein walks to the camp and back to the battlefield. Ala lanatullahi ala al-qawmi al-zalimin. وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون. ماتم حسين.
Brother Salman Hussain, and Brother Mohsin. Please come up. Thank you.
Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein. माँ कहती थी जलते हुए झूले से लिपट कर, हाय हाय अली असगर। माँ कहती थी जलते हुए झूले से लिपट कर, हाय हाय अली असगर, हाय हाय अली असगर। माँ कहती थी जलते हुए झूले से लिपट कर, हाय हाय अली असगर, हाय हाय अली असगर। जालिम ने तुझे खबर से इस तरह निकाला, सीने पे लगा जिस घड़ी बेटा तेरे नेज़ा, लाशे को तेरे देख के बोला सरे अकबर, हाय हाय अली असगर। माँ कहती थी जलते हुए झूले से लिपट कर, हाय हाय अली असगर, हाय हाय अली। कातिल तेरा मिल जाए तो खुद पूछ लूं उससे, क्या जुर्म था 6 माह के बच्चे का बता दे। उसने तो बुलाया नहीं माँ भी मुझे कह कर, हाय हाय अली असगर। माँ कहती थी जलते हुए झूले से लिपट कर, हाय 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 अली असगर। अब तक मेरी आँखों से वो मंजर नहीं जाता, गर्दन से तेरी खून टपकता रहा बेटा, रूमाल भी बांधा ना गया तेरे गले पर, हाय हाय अली असगर। माँ कहती थी जलते हुए झूले से लिपट कर, हाय हाय अली असगर, हाय अली असगर। जिस तीर से नाखे को गिराते हैं जमीन पर, वो तीर लगा नन्हे से हल्कुम पे आकर, अरे तुम खून उगलते रहे, तुम खून उगलते रहे, बाबा से लिपट कर, हाय हाय अली असगर। माँ कहती थी जलते हुए झूले से लिपट कर, हाय हाय अली असगर, हाय तुम मर गए ये बात वो अब तक नहीं मानी, जिद करती थी है भाई को पिलाऊंगी मैं पानी। तू जाली ये मख्तल में खड़ी है तेरी ख्वाहिर, हाय हाय अली असगर। माँ कहती थी झूले से लिपट कर, हाय हाय अली असगर, हाय मजबूर थी घर में मेरे पानी ही नहीं था, वरना तो धुला देती मैं ये खून भरा चेहरा। दादी से शिकायत नहीं करना मेरी जाकर, हाय हाय अली असगर। माँ कहती थी जलते हुए झूले से लिपट कर, हाय हाय अली असगर, हाय हाय अली असगर। मारा है सितमगर ने सकीना को तमाचे, गाजी की तरह तुमसे भी देखा नहीं जाता। बंद आंखें किए रोते हो तुम नो के सिना पर, हाय हाय अली असगर। माँ कहती थी जलते हुए झूले से लिपट कर, हाय हाय अली असगर, हाय हाय अली असगर।
असगर मैं तेरी माँ हूँ, आ जाओ चांद मेरे, तेरी प्यास मैं बुझाऊं। असगर मैं तेरी माँ हूँ, आ जाओ चांद मेरे, तेरी प्यास मैं बुझाऊं। असगर मैं तेरी माँ, मेरे लाडले कहाँ हो, मेरे लाडले कहाँ हो, सीने तुम्हें लगाऊं। असगर मैं तेरी माँ हूँ, आ जाओ चांद मेरे, तेरी प्यास मैं बुझाऊं। असगर मैं तेरी माँ हूँ, आ जाओ चांद मेरे, तेरी प्यास मैं बुझाऊं। असगर मैं तेरी माँ हूँ। बेटा तुम्हारा कातिल मेरे सामने खड़ा है, जाने क्यों हंस रहा है। चादर भी लुट चुकी है, मुंह किस तरह छुपाऊं। असगर मैं तेरी माँ हूँ, आ जाओ चांद मेरे, तेरी प्यास मैं बुझाऊं। असगर मैं तेरी माँ हूँ, आ जाओ चांद मेरे, तेरी प्यास मैं बुझाऊं। असगर मैं तेरी माँ हूँ। तेरे झूले को सकीना रो रो के चूमती है, तुझे घर में ढूंढती है। तेरी मौत की खबर मैं कैसे उसे सुनाऊं। असगर मैं तेरी माँ हूँ, आ जाओ चांद मेरे, तेरी प्यास मैं बुझाऊं। असगर मैं तेरी माँ हूँ, आ जाओ चांद मेरे, तेरी प्यास मैं बुझाऊं। असगर मैं तेरी माँ हूँ। मेरी जान जा रही है ये सोच सोच असगर इस फूल से गले पर ये तीर कैसे झेला बहनों को क्या बताऊं असगर मैं तेरी माँ हूँ आ जाओ चांद मेरे तेरी प्यास मैं बुझाऊं नेज़े से गिर रहा है नन्ना सा सर तुम्हारा दिल रोता है हमारा मेरे हाथ तो बंधे हैं सर किस तरह उठाऊं असगर मैं तेरी माँ हूँ आ जाओ चांद मेरे तेरी प्यास मैं बुझाऊं असगर मैं तेरी माँ बेटा तुम्हारा कातिल मेरे सामने खड़ा है जाने क्यों हंस रहा है चादर भी लुट चुकी है मुंह किस तरह छुपाऊं असगर मैं तेरी माँ हूँ
Let me do the azan, inshallah. That's okay. Let me do the azan, brother.
Say, y'all say, y'all say, y'all say, y'all say, y'all say,
Azan ka waqt ho gaya, that's what I'm saying.
y'all say, y'all say, y'all say. Haq Imam Ya Hasan Ya Hussein, Mawla Haq Imam Ya Hasan Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, oh Abide, oh Bimarta, oh Abide, oh Bimarta, oh chalne se jo लाचार था, ओ चलने से जो लाचार था, और शाम का बाजार था, और शाम का बाजार था, थी मुस्तफा की बेटियां, मौला हक इमाम या हसन या हुसैन, मौला हक इमाम या हसन या हुसैन, या हुसैन, या हुसैन, या हुसैन, बेशीर था, 6 माह का बेशीर था, और उर्मला का तीर था, और उर्मला का तीर था, प्यासा गला क्यों करछेदा, प्यासा गला क्यों करछेदा, लड़की जमीन और आसमां, मौला हक इमाम या हसन या हुसैन, मौला हक इमाम या हसन या हुसैन, या हुसैन, या हुसैन, अल्लाहुम्मा सल्ली अला मुहम्मद।
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله اللهم صل على محمد أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن علي ولي الله. أشهد أن علي حجة الله. حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح حي على خير الأمل حي على خير الأمل. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله لا إله